what we've seen is a very raggedy form instituted by right-wing extremism. Everyone knows that the right-wing extremism in this country has targeted democratically ran cities, and quite frankly, they've been very intentional about going after democratically ran cities that are led by people of color.
Oh, really?
And their whole motivation is to create disruption and chaos, because that's what that particular party has been about. Right? This is the same political party that did not want to accept that President Obama was actually an American. It's the same Republican right-wing extremism that stormed the Capitol. It's the same right-wing extremism that refuses to accept the results of the Civil War.
Okay.
It's raggedy. It's disrespectful. It's mean-spirited. It's an unclean spirit, quite frankly. It is abysmal, and it's an affront for everything that is good about this country. For the extremism in this country to use people as political tools to settle political scores for something that happened 400 years ago. They're still mad that a black man is free in this country.
That doesn't make any sense.
This is nothing new, but aren't you glad that the soul of Chicago won't be broken? And those are the words of, I think, Beyonce. You won't break our soul.
You won't break my soul. You won't break my soul.
And this could backfire.
Okay. Oh, Brandon Johnson. I can't take this guy. I had to keep my cool. You know how hard it was watching this video without losing my mind. You blame right-wing extremism for the policies that Democrats have instituted. They didn't think it was going to come true until, Republican governors decided to say, you know what? We're going to play it smart. You guys are sanctuary cities. We're going to send them to your house. But hey, come back to this video because I think there's a lot that could be said about that. So one of the ways that Brandon Johnson, the mayor of Chicago, is looking for ways to regulate the influx of illegal migrants in his states being shipped to him by Governor Abbott of Texas. He is putting fines and making it difficult for buses to even do their jobs. Think about this. Now, we won't change the policy, but we'll go after the buses. Okay, all right.
5 buses of migrants are expected to arrive in Chicago today as the city adds a new rule around how the city will accept and care for asylum seekers. The new penalty targets private bus operators that don't obey rules on where and when to drop off migrants. Crane's Business reports violating the rules currently results in fines ranging from $2,000 to $10,000. Since last summer, 573 buses have arrived here in the city, with 473 of those since May. The new measure is expected to go before the city council next week for a final vote.
Wow. So the way you solve this is by going after the buses, making it difficult for them to actually bring it. So that you put all these rules in place, you make it very rigid. So when they do come, they end up getting a fine. And as a result of that, they can drop off their people. But remember, in the midst of all of that, right, the people are not very happy with the Chicago mayor, Brandon Johnson. Now, and this is some of the things that they're saying.
Here tonight with buyer's remorse. Because I supported Mayor Brandon Johnson. I feel like a fool right now. I feel like a plum fool. But I tell you what, it's okay. Because as I said last night, you can slap us in the face by ignoring us today, but we are punching you in the face by ignoring you at the polling places tomorrow.
Oh, by the way, this man went on to ask Donald Trump to come and clean this mess.
We got little children. What about the black children in the ghetto? We got to make a future for them. These others will move them out. Move us out and they come in to compete with jobs, goods, and contracted service. A historian Carl Anderson say that they have a negative effect on the black community. I'm strictly advocating for black people and call ICE on them. Trump, come in here, clean this mess up.
Trump, come in here, clean this mess up. This lady here, by the way, she went on to go through the history of what these supposed Democrats, which was the party of racism, the party of KKK, the party of Jim Crow, the party who did not want black people to vote. And I'm going to play that video next because, my Lord, she went into her history books and put the facts out there.
In city council, you go to vote our pleasure, and you took that right away from us yesterday, formally in the city council. It is not okay. We do not deserve that level of disenfranchisement, but this is what the Democratic Party does. This is exactly who they are, who they have been. The Jim Crow era, the progressive era, and the Jim Crow era were the same. It's the same time period. Those people were Democrats that did that to us, people. Democrats are the KKK. It's the guerrilla warfare arm of the Democratic Party. The KKK walked so that Antifa could run.
Oof, boy. All right. I'm going to put a link in the description below for the rest of that video again and again. Now, look what Brandon Johnson, mayor, has done in reference to what she was talking about. Well, the people wanted to get rid of the sanctuary status. They wanted to have a vote concerning that because this law, for some reason, as you can tell, it's not working. It's not working to allow people to just come in there and completely take over an entire voting block. Maybe they can join the army. Maybe they can vote blue no matter who. Maybe they're going to come in there and guess what? Disenfranchise black people because we suffer the worst when this happens in our neighborhoods. And guess what? History have shown when you're mixing things like that, it can have really bad consequences. But boy, unvetted, undocumented, coming and living off the finance of the taxpayers, that's not right. That is not right. But again, you know what these members of the Chicago Parliament have done? The city council members, you know what they done? They freezed the vote of the people. They did not even give them the opportunity to vote. I was like, wait a minute. Is it the Democratic Party, the party of democracy? Democracy. Have you ever heard that? Oh, they're trying to stop an official proceeding on Jan 6. And yada, yada, yada. And yada, yada, yada. Voter security, voter integrity, election. I mean, like, wait a minute. Isn't that the same party that's preaching to us all the time about how Donald Trump is white supremacist? And anyway, let me come down. Watch this.
First, the latest on the migrant crisis in Chicago. A push tonight to give voters a say on whether or not the city should remain a sanctuary city. City leaders voted on the measure today as more asylum seekers continue to be bussed here from the border. NBC5's Charlie Wojciechowski has the story.
Before the highly anticipated council meeting, advocates for keeping Chicago a sanctuary city made their case.
We are a city of migrants. We are a city with undocumented families that have built this city. And it is about time that government shows up for them.
We are a rainbow. This is Chicago.
This controversial vote, which was delayed by political wrangling, would put Chicago's sanctuary city status on the ballot to let voters decide.
Let's unite against hate and division. Let's unite in support of the welcoming ordinance.
I'm not for the sanctuary city. And the reason why I'm not for the sanctuary city is because people have waited years to come in here legally.
The mayor's council allies used a parliamentary maneuver to defeat the measure by a vote of 16 to 31, bringing its sponsor to his feet.
Are we scared of the truth here? Are we afraid that the people are going to tell us that we are spending money frivolously in this body?
The vote now gives Mayor Brandon Johnson more breathing room in how he deals with the migrant crisis.
Our position is about making sure that we're providing solutions.
The mayor is also vowing a crackdown on what he calls rogue buses who fail to comply with city rules for when and where to drop off migrants. The first bus was impounded last night.
We have set forth pretty clear guidelines of how buses should arrive.
The city says it is making progress housing the migrants who have already arrived. 21 of the 22 police districts have been cleared, or as they say, decompressed of those migrants. Only the 12th district is open. Reporting from Englewood, Charlie Wojciechowski, NBC 5 News.
There goes democracy for you. Ghost democracy. Very similar to what's going on with Mr. Trump in Colorado, and now California is looking to do the same thing. Just remove him from the ballot. and cite the 14th Amendment as if it has an application to his presidency. This is crazy what they're doing. This is socialism at its finest, buddy. This is government-run policies that undermines the value and the votes of the people. Again, the people of Chicago, you better wake up. But guess what? Governor Abbott, he's playing chess while Brandon Johnson is playing checkers. Right? He took the high road. As a matter of fact, he flew those illegal immigrants into Chicago. He's like, okay, you're gonna give the buses a hard time. We're gonna fly them in. I'm like, okay, all right, that's smart.
As the number of migrants in Chicago surpasses 26,000 and city officials crack down on bus drivers violating local laws, Texas officials are changing their tactics. Thanks for joining us tonight. I'm Scott Schneider.
I'm Dawn Hasbrook. A new development for the first time. Migrants were flown here on a private plane. Casey Cronus is live at O'Hare, where additional planes could be on the way. Casey.
And city officials likely will not know until they are here. That is what happened last night. Texas officials say it is in response to the city obstructing its busing program, while local leaders are calling it trafficking. At the direction of Texas Governor Greg Abbott, more than 100 migrants boarded a private plane from El Paso to O'Hare Tuesday. Abbott's office tells our sister station in Dallas that because Mayor Brandon Johnson is, quote, targeting migrant buses from Texas, we are expanding our operation to include flights to Chicago, unquote.
We have a governor that now openly and defiantly is saying that he's going to commit human trafficking to show Chicago and to teach us a lesson.
Monday, the mayor announced harsher penalties for bus drivers who don't follow guidelines, including impounding and towing buses that try to skirt the law.
They're just dropping all people anywhere. Do you understand how raggedy and how evil that is?
Tinley Park now passing its own set of ordinances, discouraging buses from stopping there.
This is about, making the bus companies be accountable.
The village has not gotten any migrant buses, but if it does, bus companies will need to fill out an application requesting permission and identify everyone on board for background checks.
And assures us that you're providing them a safe place to stay. They have to know who they're taking up. Not only is that for the safety of the bus and other passengers on the bus, but also the communities that they're arriving in.
City officials say that buses have already tried dropping migrants off in Cicero, Schiller Park, and Rosemont. And in response to today's developments, Alderman Sigcho Lopez is calling on the federal government to launch an investigation into Abbott's practices.
No, Governor Abbott is doing exactly what he said he was going to do. I'm not against Governor Abbott at all. To be honest with you, this story is a story about accountability, responsibility, and honesty. That's what it is. Okay, and before we talk about the people in Chicago, I don't think it's right what's happening to them. But there is something that they need to at least accept, and I think some of them are beginning to accept it. The reason this is going on, guys, is because you voted for the man because of his skin color. It was identity politics. You chose the man because he's black and he can't speak well, and that's just what you did. And he's a Democrat. You gotta look into the policies. You gotta be informative about your vote. Don't just pick people simply on skin color. Oh, he's black. He's one of us. That doesn't mean he's working for you. Okay. Now here is the thing: accountability. Because again, these people have been talking about they love the migrants. Well, you're accountable and responsible for them then. Take care of them. Show them how much you love them. But if you're going to love the migrants, are you going to do it at the expense of your taxpayers, your constituents? Are you going to leave these people behind? But again, there's a lot that could be said about this, but I think there's a lesson to be learned from the people in Chicago, lesson to be learned from the governors, lesson to be learned from the mayor. I mean, every single one of them got a lesson to learn. And I really hope and pray that they figure this thing out. I really hope and pray that they do. Now, look at this. Faithful are the wounds of a friend, but the kisses of an enemy is deceitful. You see, Chicago's is experiencing what I will refer to in scripture as wounds of a friend. You know, there's some people, when they hurt you, it allows you to see your true condition. There's some things that happens to you from your enemy, right? Your supposed enemy. It exposes your reality. You get it? There are people who are kissing you, they're calling you friends, but they are really your enemy. And I think that's what's going on. The people in Chicago are realizing their enemy has always been those politicians who are claiming to be Democrats, who are claiming to love the people. Oh, kisses of the enemy are deceitful. They've been among us this whole time. Yes, they have. But all the while they were telling you they love you. They were kissing you. We love you guys. We're on your side. Bring the illegal migrants over here. Black people, get out of here. But we love you though. We love you. Governor Abbott is exposing the reality of this fake love. And I think that people now have a decision to make. Are you going to allow this to go on? Or are you going to vote differently? There is a video here where this man, he said it. I mean, he said it the best way you could say it. And there you go. This is what he says.
Don't have it. You know, we're struggling. This is government oppression at its finest. As a veteran myself, I just talked to a veteran in this tent right here. You know, we're seeing people who have given their all to their country, and we just cast them out by the expressway with the trash. This is unconscionable. And it's unconstitutional. Meanwhile, we have to follow every law. We can't go over the speed limit without getting a ticket sent to our house, but people can violate federal law, and we come in and roll out the welcome mat, give them our home equity, give them our sales taxes. They get the best of our schools. Meanwhile, something like 90% of black children are not reading, writing, and doing math proficiency, but they do it all under the guise of this fake diversity, equity, and inclusion nonsense. We just need to start voting differently. We need to start pulling ourselves out of these government institutions, starting with the public school system. We need to move on from big government and from the city of Chicago's political machine.
That was sweet to the touch. Much more could be said, but I'm going to end this video. Share your thought and perspective with me. What do you think the solution is to the situation? Do you feel bad about the people in Chicago? Do you think they should vote differently? Or should they stay blue no matter who, irrespective of what they do? You know how much of a shame it would be if these people go on in the ballot box and vote Democrats again? Lord have mercy. But again, with all these migrants coming in, the voting block is changing. If I were in Chicago, I'll be looking for somewhere else to live. Anyway, God bless you. Have a good one. Bye.